When Emily Carter left her small Indiana hometown and moved to Chicago after college, she thought her biggest challenge would be handling the demanding hours of her new advertising job. She never imagined that dating in the city would prove far more complicated. At 27, Emily was confident, driven, and undeniably attractive. Yet when it came to relationships, she often found herself tripping over the invisible rules that everyone else seemed to know. Back home, women were quietly expected to let men take the lead. Her mother had always told her, "If a man wants you, sweetheart, he'll show you. Don't chase him." But Emily was never the type to sit patiently and wait. One Friday evening, she joined her best friend, Claire, at a rooftop bar downtown. Claire was her complete opposite, content to smile coyly across the room and let men make the approach. Emily, however, locked eyes with someone who immediately caught her attention. He wasn't the loud, flashy type. Instead, he had a scholarly air, glasses sliding down his nose, and a gentle laugh that lit up his face when he joked with friends. His name, she would soon learn, was Daniel Brooks. Emily nudged Claire. "I'm going over there." Claire almost spilled her drink. "You're going to what?" Emily grinned mischievously. "I'm making the first move." With calm self-assurance, she crossed the bar, introduced herself, and struck up a conversation. Daniel seemed pleasantly surprised, even admitting, "Wow, you're bold. Most women don't do that." The two of them chatted easily for nearly an hour, swapping stories about their jobs, movies, and favorite travel spots. But as the night wore on, Emily noticed a subtle shift. Daniel grew quieter, less at ease. When she suggested exchanging numbers, he hesitated before agreeing. Over the following week, his replies to her texts were slow and brief. Finally, when she invited him for coffee, he sent the message that left her stunned. "I don't think this is going to work. You're really nice, but I like being the one to take the lead. Honestly, it felt strange that you approached me first." Emily stared at the words in disbelief. Was confidence such a deal-breaker? Later that night, she vented to Claire. "It makes no sense. I liked him. I showed it. Why is that a problem?" Claire sighed knowingly. "Some men say they want confident women, but the truth is, they get intimidated when faced with one." That conversation planted a deeper question in Emily's mind. Why did some men feel unsettled when women took the initiative? Over the next several months, Emily unintentionally became her own case study. She kept putting herself out there, and the reactions formed a clear pattern. Some men were charmed, some intrigued, but many seemed oddly threatened. Take Jason Miller, for instance. She met him at a bookstore while he browsed the philosophy section. Emily broke the silence with a smile and said, "If you want a recommendation, The Alchemist really changed my life." Jason lit up, and they quickly fell into an engaging conversation. They exchanged numbers and went on 2 dates. On the second, Jason admitted, almost apologetically, "It's strange. I feel like I didn't chase you, so I didn't really earn it. You made it too easy." Emily was floored. Was dating supposed to be a game of pretending not to care just to be taken seriously? She excelled at her career, negotiated salaries without hesitation, and spoke up without apology. Why should her love life demand the opposite? Still, the pattern continued. Men praised confidence in theory, but when faced with hers, they often pulled away. Her most striking encounter came with David Johnson, a software engineer she met at a dinner party. He was soft-spoken, thoughtful, and she sensed he wouldn't make a move unless she did. So she leaned forward and asked directly, "I think you're interesting. Would you like to get dinner sometime?" His eyes widened, but he eagerly said yes. Their first dates were filled with laughter and long conversations. Emily thought this one might be different, until David gradually became distant. When she asked why, his confession stayed with her. "I like you a lot, but it bothers me that you were the one who asked me out first. It makes me feel like I'm not being the man I'm supposed to be." It was never about who Emily was. It was about the weight of cultural expectations. Many men still tied masculinity to pursuit, to the idea of conquering, of being the initiator. When a woman changed that script, it rattled them. But not every story ended in disappointment. Months later, at a work conference in Boston, Emily met Ryan Parker. Tall, witty, with an easy smile. He caught her attention instantly. They struck up a conversation while waiting in line for coffee, and by the end of the day, Emily simply asked for his number. Ryan chuckled. "Finally. I was just trying to figure out a way to ask you without sounding awkward." Unlike the others, Ryan didn't withdraw. He valued her boldness. In the weeks that followed, he was steady, thoughtful, and truly invested. When Emily teased him once about being unusual for not minding her forwardness, Ryan shrugged and said, "Why would I? Life's too short for games. I like that you know what you want." Emily's journey had shown her something profound. Men's reactions to her confidence weren't really about her. They reflected the way they were raised, the lessons drilled into them about gender roles, and their own insecurities. Some felt diminished, some intimidated, and some, like Ryan, found it refreshing. By the time Emily turned 30, she had lived enough of these experiences to write about them. She penned a blog post titled "Why Men Struggle When Women Make the First Move," sharing her stories, the mixed reactions, and the cultural baggage behind them. The post went viral. Women across the country reached out saying, "I thought I was the only one." Even some men admitted, "I didn't realize how much I tied my worth to being the pursuer." Through it all, Emily realized that making the first move wasn't about rejection or approval. It was about being true to herself. She refused to let outdated traditions dictate her happiness. And as fate would have it, Ryan was the one who embraced that authenticity. Years later, at their wedding reception, Ryan raised his glass and gave a toast that made Emily's eyes glisten. "If Emily hadn't walked up to me and said hello, I would have missed the greatest love of my life." Gentlemen, don't be afraid when a woman makes the first move. Be grateful. The crowd erupted with cheers, and Emily smiled, knowing that every awkward date and frustrating ending had led her to this moment. Not every man could handle it, but the right one had.